open an existing project just by coming to open an existing project. And over here, this is where you can see all the recent projects that you have worked on. You can see all of them listed over here, and you can click on anyone to kickstart and continue with the editing process. But for this tutorial, we want to create a new project. So we can just come over to create new project and just click on new project. And this brings us to the new project menu. Now, the first thing you need to do here is to give the project a name. Okay, so over here, you can just give it a name. So let's say Microsoft Applications Intro. And then next you have to define the location where you want to save this very file. So you can just click on this drop down and you can see existing locations. But if you want to choose a given location where you have it saved, you can just come over and say choose location, and you can navigate accordingly through your files and find the exact location where you plan to save your project. So let's say I'm saving everything in this folder, Adobe Premiere Pro, in this very location. So down here you have the option to import your video or your media from any of these directory. This is a local directory within your computer. You can navigate around and import any kind of content from there. And then down here you have attached devices. You have the devices, the hardware devices you've connected with the computer. You can see them over here, and you can bring in content from there as well. And you can bring in favorites in case if you have started anything, you find it here. And down here you have the view option. You can change the view of these existing templates. Okay, these are existing media templates, sample media template that came with Adobe Premiere Pro by default. So you can just navigate as you hover over, you will see the preview. So you can change the view here. You can see a number of them in cases when you want to bring them in and add them to your content. So you can increase the sizing, the view over here, the size of the video, or you can change the different kind of view and make it grid view, or thereabout. You can make it grid view, or you can make them to be list view just like so, or you can sort them accordingly. You can use this filter type to filter by different kind of categories, and then you can show and unshow. You can disable the directory if you so wish. Then down here you have other import settings. So here you can copy the media into the software, or you can keep it in the directory where you have started it. You can create a new bin, or you can create a new sequence, which all this I will explain to you when we start this tutorial. But for now, I want to keep everything off so that we will start and I will show you how to create everything afresh. Okay, so once you make sure everything is set, you just define location and you give the project a name. Then the next thing, you click on create. Now, once you click on create, this brings us to a fresh blank Adobe Premiere Pro platform. So you can see that this is the source panel. This is where you can have a preview of all the different kind of sources that you have of your media, and different kind of effect controls from the media. The properties, you find them over here. And then this is where you have the program panel. This is where you have the preview of the video as you hover or as you continue with your editing. You can edit this to make it smaller. And then down here you have graphics. You can always reset the view to your test. So you can reset it to the original looks or view, and then you can also make it on your own way. And down here we have the media bin. This is where you bring in all your media and dump them over here. Okay, so you can see you even have the media browser over here where you can navigate within your computer and bring in different kind of things inside this media bin, and then you can work accordingly into the timeline and into the program panel as well. So you have effect control. This is where you have all the effects. Once you come to this small arrow, you can just click, you can see all the things that you have here. You have project, you have media browser, and you have effects. And then down here, you have the timeline. This is where you do all of your editings and previewing of your clips. Okay, you bring in everything over here. And over by the left here, you can see all the editing tools, which later I will explain the basic functions that you will need and how to use them for beginners purpose. So this is the actual preview of the platform that you will see, but you can change the view if you want by just coming to Windows over here, and you can see workspaces over here. So you can enable, you can reset it to the saved layout if you have previously worked on a setting and you put everything that you have. You use all the features and effects in a particular way, and you set it and you saved it as a preset, which you can do by just coming to save as new workspace preset. If you have a workspace arrangement that you particularly like, you can save it as a preset. And if you want to reset it back to the normal layout, how it is, the default one, you can always come to the reset to saved layout at any given point. Even if you mistakenly moved some of the components, for example, you just drag this and exchange it to this position, and maybe you play around with this, you drag and drop somewhere and you scattered everything and you want to go back to the normal look, you can always come to Windows, you can come to workspaces over here, and then you can say reset to saved layout. You can reset this and it will bring you back to the default layout. You can always close this panel or any other panel of your choice, so you are back to the normal one. If you like this setting and if you want everything to be on this setting, you can always come over here, come to workspaces and say save as new workspace. So you can just save this as my workspace, for example. Okay, so you just click on create. So you already have a workspace. At any given point, if you want to start a video editing, or before you start, you can just come all the way here and put in your workspace that you've just put the reset. So you can say reset to saved workspace. Once you click on this, you to reset it back to your saved workspace. So the next is we try to import a media into the media bin panel over here. So you can do that using two ways. You can just either come all the way here and right click and say import, and then navigate to the location where you have the file and just easily drag and drop, or you can just select and then come over here and say import. So for example, we can select from here, or we can just come all the way to the media browser where you can see a preview of all the local drives and your computer. You can just come over here. This is in my Macintosh. You can just navigate to the location where you have it saved, and you can see the folder over here. I have already subdivided it into 4 folders. I have the audio, I have the b-roll, I have the images, and I have another video over here. So this b-roll are for just video b-roll. Okay, so we can just select from the beginning and then hold down the shift key and select the last one to make sure we select all, and then we can hold the command key and deselect the Microsoft applications file. This is our Adobe Premiere Pro file. So we can just right click over here and just say import, and it has imported all our media over here. So the first thing we need to notice is the media has been classified according to the type. Okay, so we have the b-roll, which is video. You can just click on this small drop down and you can see everything. And then we have the images over here. All the images that we want to use are here. And then we have the video that I want to use, and then we have the audio down here. Usually I record my video separately with the audio within a separate device or separate software, and then the video using another device. So I used to synchronize and join both of them together. So over here, down here you can tamper with the view of the imported media. For example, here it is at the list view. You can make it, you can change the view to make it this grid view, or you can make it freeform view also if you want, according to the content. You can increase or decrease the sizing accordingly. You can increase the sizing or decrease it accordingly. And then, but for me, I prefer it to be in this list view, and then you can create a folder at any given point. You can create any folder. For example, you may want to create a new folder here. You can just come and click it, and then you can make it maybe video, and maybe you can make this audio. Over here, you can drag and drop any kind of media into wherever location you want. So for example, I want to move this to the video, I just move. Okay, and you can see it over here. And I want to move this to the audio file, I just drag and move it to the audio file. And you can just minimize, and you can see now everything is well arranged. So arrangement and data management and folder management is very important in Adobe Premiere. So let me try to give you a preview of how to import video in another way. So this is the first way. The second way is, let me undo the import. The second way is you can double click on the video and it's going to show on the source panel over here. And for you to bring in a particular section of this video, all you need to do is to try to navigate around using this playhead. You can just navigate around and until you find the exact position that you want to take in as an input into your video. For example, I may want to take this. So all you need to do is press letter I on the keyboard, and then you can go ahead to select the second point. For example, I want to take this point, and you can go ahead and press letter O. This is the out point, and this defines the input and output position that you want to drag and drop in your timeline. Once you select the in point and out point, so all you need to do is just to drag the video from here and you can just drop it, and it will just extract that particular location that you have defined as input and input and output point, to just take the only location that you have defined. Now what you notice is as you drag and drop, it came in with video and audio section. Okay, if you want to drag only the video section of this particular section that you've defined, you can see it over here. So you just drag, and this is video only, so you drop it. Or if you want to import only the audio section of this very section that we've located, you can come and drag audio only, just drag and drop it over here. Okay, so this is how to drag video only or audio only into the timeline, and then you can continue with your basic editing. Now let's say you have defined this path as the path you want, and let's say we import the whole part of the video, or we can define another path, move it to another location, for example, and press letter I, and then come over here to another different location, maybe and press letter O to define another output, and then you can drag and drop this section of the video in the timeline. Alright, so the next thing that I want to show us is how to speed up a clip and how to slow down a clip. Okay, so for example, when you play the clip, it plays normal. I want to speed it up, so all I need to do is to start by selecting that particular clip. When you select a clip, you can see down here, you can come over here and you can see the effect controls over here. So over here, you see all the range of properties that has to do with this very clip. So you can see all of them: rotation, anchor point, anti-flicker, filter, position, scale. You can play around with all this, and even the audio options over here. These are the video properties and these are the audio properties. So down here you have a given option. So for example, we've selected this part of the video and want to speed it up. So all you need to do is right click and come to this small arrow, and you can come to speed and duration. You can just click on speed and duration. Right now it's 100%. If you want to speed it up, you can make it maybe 300%, which means the speed is ×3 of the existing speed. And once you click on OK, you can see it shrinks the size. And when you try to play this same video, you see how fast it's going to look like. Okay, so this is how to speed it up. And if you want to slow it down, you can, let's say we bring it back to 100 speed and duration. We can bring it back to 100, which is the normal speed. You can see it close everything. And let's say we want to slow it down, and let's move this part a little because it's going to expand. So just right click, come down here and come to speed / duration, and then we want to increase it. We want to slow it down. So let's slow it down to, let's say, about 30%. And once you click on OK, you can see it extended the sizing. And when you try to play it, you now see the preview. Yeah, I think you can see the speed. It's now slowed down. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new sequence. Okay, so to create a new sequence, all you need to do, you can create a new sequence from here by just clicking on this new item, and then you define the parameters, or you can just come to your video, or you can right click over here and say new item, and then you can say new sequence. Okay, so over here you can define your properties. What kind of sequence are you targeting? Usually I go for the DSLR 1080p at 30 frame rate per second. So once you select that, you can give the sequence a name down here. You can just give it a name. You can say intro video over here, and once you click on OK over here, the sequence is being created. So now you can drag your video. This is the sequence, you can see it, and now you can drag the video. So everything is going to be under this sequence. Now you can drag your video. You can just easily drag it and drop it into the timeline. So the first thing you will notice is after I have dragged and dropped my video into the timeline, I have a number of things enabled over here. So the first one is, this is the labels for the video. This is the video clip, and then this is the audio down here. It's labeled also over here. This is V1, this is the video one, and then this is audio, and this audio one, and then we have other audios as well in cases when you have more than one audio. So down here you can mute a particular audio, or you can disable or toggle the video track on and off by just clicking on this. You will off it and then you will on it. In the case of media audio, you can toggle this and it will just mute that particular track, and you can click on this to solo track everything, and then that means to keep everything off except this particular one that you're working on. Or you can click on this mic to do voice over recording directly in Adobe Premiere Pro. So this is the basics about this. You can add tracks if you want by just right clicking, and then you can say add tracks. You define location, how you want it. Is it above or below, and the names of the track that you want to add. And then the other properties you can add from here directly. So let us do some basic editing features in Adobe Premiere Pro. So the first thing you need to notice is over here, you have the selection tool, which means you can use it once you are on the selection mode. You can use it to click on any clip, any part of the clip, and you can move it to anywhere. You can select a combination of audio and video and move them around as well. So you can move them around as you so wish. Next most important thing over here is the razor tool. So you can use the razor tool once you click on the razor tool, or you can click on the shortcut tool C. Usually K is the shortcut for cut, or which is the razor tool. You can just select it, and once you select the razor tool, you can see the cursor has just changed its look. Okay, so you can click anywhere to cut your clip. Okay, you can click and cut at any location of your choice. And once you click and cut anything, it means that particular section of the clip is now separated from the others. So you can go back to the selection mode, and then you can easily move the tracks accordingly. You can see they are now separate, and you can see you can move them separately. But they go in with the audio because they are linked together. If you want to unlink them, so you can be able to move only the video section, you can just right click over here. You can come down here and you can see unlink over here. Once you click on unlink, it means the audio and the video and the audio and the video are now separate, and you can move them separately. So this is how to unlink. So you can bring them back and continue with the editing. So this is basically how to use the razor tool, which is one of the most important tool, and you can do a number of things over here. So for example, let's try to delete all this section, and let's bring in this. Let's select this and bring it to the beginning, even though we've cut everything. So one very important thing that you can do during your editing is you can see the cut sections, this place. You can see delete it on your own. You delete, you don't want this place, for example, in the timeline. You can either right click and come to delete and say delete this section, or clear this section. You can say clear and it will remove it. Or you can, let me undo, Ctrl Z. You can select it and press the delete button and it's going to delete it. But in all case, it left a space over here. So if you want to remove the space, you just right click over here and click ripple delete, and it will just do the deleting and it will close this gap that it left. Or you can right click and just click on delete on your computer, and you can see it easily delete everything and close the gap. So you have the timeline now starting, the clips now starting from the beginning. So this is kind of fantastic. Another cool way that you can do this very ripple delete is you can use shortcut keys. Okay, later I will show you how to input shortcut keys that can enable you to work very fast during the editing process. So assuming we have this whole track inside, right, and we want to cut some section of it. For example, I may want to cut from this point to the front, okay, to the end. I want to cut this point. I'm editing and I don't need all this part. So all you need to do is to press letter W and it's going to cut it just like so. Or while I'm editing, I may want to cut this section from here to this end, okay, to this extreme end. All you need to do is to press letter Q, which will delete it backward. This is ripple delete backward or left, and then the other one is ripple delete right. It will delete and it will close the gap, okay. And another way to do it is, usually I have formatted my shortcut key to letter R to represent ripple delete. So once I select a particular section, I press letter R or letter D, it's going to do ripple delete for me. Later I will show you how to kind of edit and put in your keyboard shortcut keys. So another way you can edit your footage is by using the dragging option. Okay, so you can reach the end of the clip and you can just see the mouse cursor changing like this. And you can easily drag it to cut it. For example, you may cut it to the location that you want, and you can do the same thing also on the other end. Okay, so you can see once your cursor changes like this and you want to remove this section of the clip, you can just come all the way and just drag and cut accordingly. You can see you can cut accordingly up to the location that you have, that you want. Although this one leaves a gap also. So you can select and delete and then it shifts automatic. So this is basically how to do some little editings in Adobe Premiere Pro. The next thing is I want to show you how to add B-rolls. Usually B-rolls are videos that play on the audio, or you have a video, a complete video like this, and you want to bring in some media, video or audio or images. You want to bring in a video or an image to play as you are talking, just to complement what you are saying. So let's try to bring this back to normal by clicking Ctrl Z. Okay, so this is normal, and then I want to bring in some B-rolls to attach here, so we kind of connect between what we have and the next clip. So let's select this and bring them back and snap. Okay, you can see it snaps. So let's go back to our media bin, to our project, and we have the images over here as B-rolls. We can import images as B-rolls. For example, we just click on this Microsoft Office suite. We can just easily drag and drop it up here. We can zoom in and out from this panel, just like so. You can increase or decrease the view. Okay, you can increase or decrease so that you can see it very clearly. So let's say you want this image to be somewhere here, and we want to see a preview of it. So you can come over here and you can see the preview. So right now I want it to cover everything. So once you have it selected, you can come to the effect controls over here, and you can increase the scaling. So you can come over here, you can increase it to scale up. Okay, you can scale by increasing the scale value, and you can see you have increased it to the end. And you can play around with the position effect as well. You can move it to the right, to the left, or to the right, or as you so wish. And you can move it up and down as well to capture everything to your test. This is image B-roll, image as B-roll. Assuming you want to put in a video also as B-roll, so we can click on our video B-roll, and you can see all of them over here. So for example, I want to drag only a video, not a video and an audio. So you can drag and see it over here. So you can see, you can move to have an idea about that particular video, and you can see it over here. So if you want to fill in the space also with this, you just make sure it is selected. You can come all the way to effect controls also and increase the scale. Okay, so you can see it filled up. So let's try to play to have an idea of what B-rolls are. So let's see. As you play, you can see you are explaining on the background, and you can see the B-roll. And you can see this is playing while you are still explaining your video. So this is the function of B-roll. Sometimes it comes in with an audio. For example, this book comes in with an audio. So once you drag and drop it, you can see it came in with an audio clip. Okay, so you are free to unlink them, or you can mute that particular clip. So this clip now becomes muted. So the audio part of the clip will not be heard. As you are walking, you can see the B-roll part. Okay, so this is the B-roll part, and you are free to zoom in or out to be able to have it clearly stated. Okay, so depending on what message you are trying to portray, bringing in B-rolls can help your viewers to connect better and learn very easily in your videos. Next, I would like to show you how to insert a text in a video clip. So for example, from the beginning, I want to put an intro text. So all you need to do is to come down here to the editing tool. You can see text over here, type tool, or Ctrl T to start it. You can just click on Ctrl T, or you just type T, just click on this, and at any given point within, you can just easily drag like this, and you can type anything that you want to type. So for example, I say welcome to Epic Mentorship. So you can see it brings in the text feature over here, the text clip feature over here. So you are free to double click the text, and you will have so once you have the text selected, you can see on this part of the editing tool, you can see all the features that you are going to play around with. So for example, you can select the entire text, and then you can come over here and you can play around. We can center it. Okay, you can align center as well, or you can change the orientation. You can centralize it, everything. You can see we have centralized it. Or this is opacity. You are free to increase or decrease the opacity accordingly. You can see the sample. You're free to change the position over here. You can move it to the left, to the right, and up or bottom. From here, you're free to move it. And down here, you can increase the sizing. To increase the text, you can select the font style. You can see different kind of fonts. Once you select, you can see the sample over here. You can select any font of your choice. And then down here, you can align also from left, center, and right. You can align up or down or bottom, and you can play around with the sizing over here. You can increase the sizing, or you can so decrease it so that it becomes very visible. Down here, you can increase the fill, or you can increase a stroke to make it kind of looks much more better. And you can increase the background if you want it to pop out very nicely, and you can select the background coloration and add it from here. Okay, so you can change it to any background. For example, if you are on white, you may want to have a black background so it pops out very nicely. So down here you have the transparency. You can increase or decrease the transparency as well. You can play around with the masking tool. You can increase the sizes and decrease accordingly using these features as well if you so wish. And you can increase or decrease or change the coloration of the text. Right now, once you click out, you can see the text is white in color. You can change the coloration also from here if you so wish. So once you're done, you just click out somewhere and the effect is gone. Okay, the properties is gone. Once you hover over it, if you want to change anything, all you need is just to select that particular text and everything is going to come back, and you can just select it and start your editing afresh as well. Or when you select it, you can select the text feature, and you can come all the way to effect controls, and you have a bunch of other controls also as regards the text to edit from. The next thing is, let's try to put some effects in our video. So for example, let's start with the text. We want to put in some effects. So all you need to do is to come over here, and you can just come to effects over here. The effects panel is going to open, and you have a bunch of effects. You have the video effects down here, and you have the video transitions over here. Okay, so we have a bunch of transitions that we can put. So for example, you have series of transitions. We have dissolve, we have immersive video, we have Irish, we have obsolete or thereabout. So let's try with something like dissolve and just drag something, cross dissolve and see, and put it on our text, and let's see how it behaves. Okay, so we can decide to put it at the beginning. And when we zoom out over here, we'll be able to see the effect very clearly. You can see it over here. You can click to select it, and you can see the properties also on the effect controls. You can increase the length just by coming to the end. You can shorten the period of transition, or you can lengthen it accordingly. So let's try to play and see how the text comes in. You can see it fades in. It just easily fades in. So you can put the same thing at the end of it. So let's try to zoom out. So you can see we can fade it out also. You can see it can fade out. Yeah, so this is fade in and fade out. So this is transition on basic text. So we can do the same transition on a B-roll or within our video. So for example, this video, we cut it at this point. We create a cut here, and we want to create a transition. We want to put a transition in between the videos. All you need to do is just to select what kind of video transition we want to put, and we just drag it and place it in between the cut. Okay, so you can see it over here. We can zoom out to change the duration. You can increase or decrease. And once you come to the edge over here with the selection tool, we can see it over here. We can increase or decrease the transition effect. So let's have a preview of it and see. Once you click, you can see the effect. Let's do that again. Okay, I think that kind of looks cool. So this is how to add transition effects. Next, we can add some video effects like the blurriness and thereabout. So video effects. So this is video transition. We just try to minimize it. Okay, let's see video effects. From video effects, you can see maybe blurriness. Okay, blur and sharpen. You can just open this and maybe let's call it Gaussian blur. So for example, you want to put the Gaussian blur on this part of the video. So we just make sure we drag the Gaussian blur and just drop it on this particular clip. One thing you notice is that the function has been added, but you will not see the effect over here. So you need to come over here and you can see the Gaussian blur over here. And this is the blurriness. You have to select and increase it. Okay. So if you increase, you can see it. You can see the effect. If you decrease, you can see it's to 0. And then when you increase the blurriness, you can see, and you can do this on any part of your clip. You can do this on any part of your clip. This is how to add video effects and transitions. And if you want to see the functions or the effects that you've added with and without, you can just come all the way to the function over here and just click to see without. You can see it striking, and then you can click to see with and without. and all the functions the same way. So at this point, I would like to show you how to save your Adobe Premiere profile so that you don't have to be working and then later on when there is no light or the light went off and the computer crashed, you may lose your files. So all you need to do is to come to File and you come to Save, or you can press Ctrl S in Windows and Command S on Mac to save your work. Alright, the next thing is the audio properties and management and how I manage my audio to sound a little bit better. So let's try to have a look. Usually, like I said, I record my video on a separate device. Okay, I record using using Audacity. Audacity is an open source software that you can record your video. I'll put the link in the description so you can just click to record, and I've made a tutorial about it. If you want to learn it, I'll keep it in the description as well. So all you need to do to enhance your audio is, for example, you can come all the way down here. You can zoom this, you can increase this out so that you can see the wave very clearly. All right, you can bring it down. You just select and drag it and you can see the wave clearly, and you can zoom in and out using the plus or minus sign or the shortcut keys. In case if you know how to use the shortcut key, you can use shortcut key 1 and 2 to zoom in and out like I usually do, or you can use it manually, zoom in and out, and then you can see it very clearly in cases when you need to make some cuts at a given point, and you can see the exact point that you need to make the cuts from. So right now, when you're dealing with audio, all you need to pay attention to is once you select the audio clip, you have the audio properties over here. You can select the volume property and you can see you can increase or decrease the volume. So if you increase this, let me show you the effect that it's going to have. For example, just take a look at this audio stand. If you see it hitting let's try to mute the second audio, this one at the top. If you see the normal audio this is normal audio, but when it gets to the yellow sign, it's still okay. From the green to the yellow sign, it's okay. But when it starts to hit the red sign, then that means your audio is clipping. So let's try to see how it happens in case when you increase the volume over here. So let's increase the dBs, the volume. So you increase it to something like 20 or by 10, or let's say by up to 20, and then you try to play it. Let's see. You can see it is clipping and it's got hitting the red sign clearly, so it shows that it's very, very bad. So you can bring it down as well to negative and it will stay away. You can see it, but now it's less loud. So you can bring it to 1 dB. You can just bring it down to 0 if you want, or at any given point you can easily reset and it will bring back to the normal. It's now back to normal. You can increase or decrease the volume accordingly. Alternatively, you can right click on the clip and you can come to audio again, and you can do the same increase from here. You can increase the decibels. Okay, you can just increase, you can put 10, 20, or you want to decrease, you can put negative 220 or thereabout. You can do all that and say okay. So this is about the audio. Always you can pay attention to this, how it is clipping to this very end. And if you want to enhance it and make it sound quite better, all you need to do is to start by the first, you can come and put some audio effects. Okay, so you can come to effects over here, come to the effects panel, or you make sure on the Windows over here you select audio, make sure audio track mixer is selected. Okay, if you click on audio track mixer to show it, and you can see it over here, and you have the options. Okay, this is audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, and the mix over here. So the same thing, audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, just like you have over here. Okay, so but the one we are dealing with right now is audio 2. This is the audio 1 and this is audio 2. So we are dealing with audio 2. So all the things you are going to do them over here. You can increase the volume or decrease the volume also from here the same way. You can do that in either ways. And if you want to play around with it, you can come to this small arrow and then you can see it's still audio 2. You can put in different kind of controls over here. For example, in cases when you have a lot of echo in the sound system, you can easily come over here and put in denoise, put delay and echo. So the first effects that I usually put is amplitude and compression. So you can go do single band compressor. You can click to apply it. And once you double click on this, you can see the properties over here. So I usually don't touch anything. I just click on the defaults, the presets over here, and I put voiceover. You need to change everything right away. Okay, you can click to preview. And it's going to sound much better. You can play and see without and with that particular effect. You can close This means it has been added. You can come down also and add another one. You can say maybe filter and equalization. You can do simple parametric equalizer. You can just click and you can double click to change the properties. Filter and EQ, we can put parametric equalizer. So once you double click, you can see the properties over here. And usually I used to go with this vocal enhancer, which is going to give you this. And you can have the preview. This preset is quite good. You can play it without and with, and you can see how it's going to enhance your audio. Just give it a try. Okay, the thing that I used to put is the noise, in case when you have some noise in your background. You can put a noise reduction and restoration. You can put the reverb if you have reverb, if you have echo, the noise, just to put those to reduce the noise effect. Usually I go as far as 50 to reduce the noise. In cases when you have critical or chronic noise, you can go as far as 60, because it is going to affect the quality of the audio if you keep going higher and higher. So you just add the noise and you can preview it also. You can see it will clear the noise. The last thing I used to add is you can come to noise reduction and I could put the reverb, okay, to remove echo. This is the noise and this is the reverb. So you just double click and make sure you take it also to 50, sometimes 55, depending on how echoey the location is. Okay, so you can increase it. So you can always play to hear the preview. The echo is surely going to be eliminated. You have other things, heavy reverb or heavy echo or light echo, depending. So all these are presets. You can just easily add them. So I think in terms of audio editing, this is what I basically add to sound much better in my audio. So let me play one of my videos that I use these very clean features to edit, and then you can hear the sound very clearly and nicely. So just hear this sound.
The millennials, they are an internet surfing, iPodding, texting, Googling, and Facebooking generation. No one will argue that teaching is easy, but millennial teachers are facing unique challenges.
So I made this very sound to sound much better like this using these particular effects that I have just highlighted on this tutorial. So just make sure you follow around and then try it, and you can hear your sound much better on authoritative. And it all also depend on the kind of mic you're using. I'm using the Rode NT mic, so be mindful of the kind of mic you use to sound much better. Alright, so the next thing is we are going to learn how to synchronize our audio from different devices. So like I said earlier in the video, I have shown you, I used to record my videos and audios using different sources. This is to ensure the quality, because usually what comes out from the camera is not as good as what comes out from other devices. So I usually record my audio separately. So assuming I have the file over here, this is just an example. I have inputted the video clip, okay, which is what I have here. And then I have the different audio clip, which is over here, part 2. So all I need to do is just to synchronize, to drag and drop it inside the Adobe Premiere Pro. So assuming I drag and dropped it over here, and when you zoom closer, you will see that it's not synchronized. Okay, when I try to play it, it's not going to play collectively together. So for you to get it synchronized, look at the wave. For you to have it clearly set up, what I say in the camera is equally what I've recorded on the other device. So all I need to do is to select the one on the camera and select the one and hold the shift key. Okay, select the second audio and just right click on it and come all the way up here, and I say synchronize. Okay, so just make sure the audio is selected over here, and you just click on OK, and you will see the magic. And you can see it has automatically shifted and synchronized all the points. You can see from the wave form, you can see everything is synchronized. Okay, so right now you can see it clearly. All the waves are synchronized accordingly. So what I used to do, I will just disable the camera one, then I will proceed with my editing of the video, for example, of the other audio. So I do all my editings. I manage all this from this audio. All my audios are managed from the second audio as my audio. If I like, I can mute all this. If I like, I can delete it by just unlinking it from this and then deleting it and then assigning this as my main audio. Okay, so this is just how to synchronize your audio to have it fully fitted and bring in the best one to work with. Next, I would like to show you how to save audio preset. So for example, you have your audio clip down here, and once you click on it, you can come to effect control over here, and you see the properties that you've inputted all in the audio. So for example, assuming we have inputted the reverb, which we have shown how to use it, and we have inputted parametric equalizer, and we have inputted multi-band compressor. All this we have added to our audio, and the next time we are going to use this we are going to need this audio. We don't have to be putting them one after the other and changing and editing the settings and putting in different presets or thereabout. We can save the whole of this as our audio presets, so we can just refer to it at any given point. So to save all this, you just have to select the reverb. For example, this one, the reverb. You can hold the command key, and then you can select the parametric equalizer, and then come back and select the multi-band compressor. You can just right click on any of them and say save preset, just like so, and then you can give it a name. So down here, you can just write audio preset, and you can just save it as my own personal preset. So whenever I want to apply this very setting to another audio, for example, this very clip down here, I may want to apply the audio preset here or on another audio, all you need to do is to just come over to effects over here, and you can check on presets down here. You just click on the small arrow, and you can see audio preset. You just drag and just drop it. So all of the features that you've added are already there. We have it, the reverb, the parametric equalizer, and the multi-band compressor, all in with just one click. So this is how to save audio settings as presets for subsequent usage. So next, we would like to look at the basics of coloring. Okay, how to color our footage and make it look a little bit better from what we have over here, for example. So assuming I want to color this, all I need to do is to select this clip, and I can come all the way to the windows over here and make sure lumetri color is selected. So something like this, lumetri color, you can just make sure it is selected, and you can see the properties down here. Okay, so this is basic color correction, and what usually happens is color correction is just to bring back the image to the exact look that it's supposed to be. Okay, how the image is naturally, that's how it's going to be. That's how you are going to bring it back. So that's color correction. So when you correct it, it means you are taking it back to the normal one. Okay, the normal looks, just like the natural look. So what I usually do is I just come all the way, select the image, and go to lumetri color, and I can just come over here. So I used to have the lumetri scopes also enabled. So I used to enable the lumetri scopes. Okay, so because the lumetri scopes is what gives you the idea of what you are working on, because just by mere tweaking on the settings, you will not have a clear understanding on how your color is being affected by your actions. Okay, so but the lumetri scopes is going to help you to have an idea. Usually it's ranging between this minimum, which is a 10 between 10 and 90. That's the best part to take back the image to natural look. Okay, so make sure the colors are distributed and it falls within this range, and between 10 and 90. Anything above 90 is going to be clipping and it's going to affect your image. So the basic corrections that we're going to do, sometimes I don't even have to worry about what I am tweaking. I just have to worry about what is showing over here. I just want to keep it at 10 and 90 and then play around with the settings, knowing that it is at 10 and 90. So we'll start with the basic correction over here, which is the most basic thing. So you can see the key features over here, the exposure, the contrast, the highlights, and so on. So once you just start with the exposure, you can see when you increase the exposure, this is what happens, and when you decrease the exposure, this is what happens. So you just try to bring it back to maybe at least this 90 at the top, and then you can calm down and increase the contrast, play around with the contrast and see what you can. But just don't worry about what is happening here. Just be paying attention to what is happening here, so that you can just have the settings stay at 90. And then your blacks, you can come down to your blacks and whites. For example, you can increase the white a little bit. You can just play around with it a little bit to stay at 90. Come down to your blacks and you can up it to stay at 10. Okay, so this profile should not go below 10. Okay, so this is correction. Don't worry about what is happening here as well. Just make sure you set everything between 90 and 10. So everything is now going back to normal, how it was when you started. So you can play around with the shadow effects. You can just tweak it a little bit to have just a little bit of it. Okay, so this is basic color correction. If you like, you can play around with the temperature over here, but I don't do that. So at any given point, this is the correction we have made a little bit, but this is the before and this is the after. Okay, we'll put in some little correction. So later on, you can see how to do color grading. So in color grading, what I usually do is I have to introduce an adjustment layer. So once you're done with color correction, you make sure everything, the profile is at this point. So this is corrected. This is at exactly the way it was when we started. So you can decide to play around with the exposure a little bit. All right. So and then you can reduce the contrast a little. So once you have everything set over here, you can now go to the color grading. Or in color grading, I use adjustment layer. So you just right click in the project bin and just come to new item over here and you can see adjustment layer. So once you click on adjustment layer, you make sure you have this height and this frame rate. Okay, so you just say okay and you have it over here. So all you need to do is to drag the adjustment layer and put it on the top of on your timeline. So you can just easily select it and then drag it across the clip that you want to edit. So this is where the magic happens. Now previously you worked on the clip directly. Now you want to work on the adjustment layer. So whatever you have is just on the adjustment layer. You can easily delete it and put in another one, or you can easily select it and edit accordingly. So on the adjustment layer, you can do a lot of things, but what I usually do is I usually bring down my blacks. Okay, I bring down my black so it pops out a little bit just like so. So don't worry about it over here. Just be mindful about what is happening here. Now you are focusing on the beauty. So don't worry about what is happening here. When you concentrate on what is happening on the lumetri scopes is when you are doing the color correction. So now you can just up your white a little bit. Okay, and then you can just a little bit increase your highlights so you pop out a little bit. So you can see your blacks, you can see your hair and so on, and the black keyboard and anything black around you is now fully fixed. So you can see if you are exposed a lot, you also control the exposure from here and just bring it down a little bit. Okay, so another thing I usually do is I go to creatives and I just increase the sharpness of the video. You can see just increase the sharpness a little bit and then increase the vibrance also. Okay, and just increase the vibrance a little and then the saturation. Okay, so I think you can see the effects now. Everything is popping out. The tints, I don't touch much of this. Sometimes I go to the RGB curves and usually I create 3 different points, 1, 2 points. Okay, and I try to tweak it. When you go up, it means you are increasing the highlights. Okay, you are increasing the lightness, and if you come down a little bit, you are decreasing the brightness. So you can just tweak it a little bit to give the little S shape that can give you that very fantastic look. So this is the white balance. You can check the red balance. Also, you can tweak it accordingly, depending on the green balance. You can tweak it accordingly, or the blue balance. You can tweak all this because this RGB coloration. You can enable or disable it. You can see the effect. Okay, you can see the basic difference with and without. This is without and with. Okay, you can see the basic difference. It gives us that popping up and the cinematic look a little bit. I don't go too much into hue and saturation. I don't do much on this. All I do is just these basic ones. And if you are certain and you enjoy or you like what you have over here in terms of the color correction and color grading, you can just save everything as a preset, so you can easily refer back to it at any given point. You can see the entire coloration that you have done before and after. Okay, before and after, so you can see the difference. And another thing I want to share with us is there are LUTs. Okay, LUTs is just a preset that other people have used on their videos, and it kind of pops out and make the coloration looks fantastic. So it's just like preset someone used and saved it on his own. So if you want to save your own preset as well, all the settings you have, you can just come all the way down here and you can see save as preset, and it's going to save this as your own preset. So you can just save it, like for example, I say my color preset, and I can just save this. And anytime I want to color another video again, I don't have to follow the same process, go to the basic correction, but go to the creatives and add the adjustment layer. I just need to just add the adjustment layer and just drag and just add the presets directly. Once I come over here, you can see browse presets, and once you browse preset, you can easily add it. Now, one thing I want to share with us is the use of LUTs. LUTs are very, very fantastic presets that other people have used, and they found it very useful, and it helps in their audio, in their video. You can easily add it. So depending if you want to use LUTs, it's also good. You can just easily select a given LUT and just drag and drop on your image. You can just apply a given LUT, and you can see it changes the looks. You can apply depending. You can just keep navigating around and see how it changes or how it affects your video. If it is if the color is okay for you, then you can leave it. If it is sometimes when you apply a LUT, you can also come over here and tweak it a little bit and tweak the settings so that you can get what you want. But the LUT sometimes help a lot. But you can also save your own as your own LUT, just like we have saved the one I've just shown clearly. But at this point, I would like to put it to none because I don't want to use any LUT over here. So this is what I have and this is what I want. Okay, so this is basically how to do color correction and color grading so that the video quality can pop out a little bit, and it will just you just sound you just look kind of professional in the video. So the next thing is I would like to show us how to add graphics into our video, including presets, using the presets graphics that we have. So you can see graphics and titles over here. You can install motion graphics templates over here if you want. You can add text, vertical text, rectangle, polygon, or thereabouts. And one of the things I usually do is to make sure over here the windows, I make sure graphics is selected, essential graphics, okay, over here, and you can see it over here. So what happens is Adobe Premiere Pro also comes with its own graphics, the presets. You can browse it and you can see a lot of them over here. You can check around accordingly. You can see angled image caption. You can see different ones. You can insert lower thirds over here. You can see a bunch of them. You can have titles over here, and you can have lower third, also basic lower third over here. You can just put in your details accordingly, and you have bold coming up. You can see different kind of presets over here, and you can add them accordingly, according to your message, according to your content, very nicely. So let's say we try to input in a title. Okay, or at this point maybe I want to show my name. Just drag and drop it over here. I want to give them my name, for example. So sometimes you receive this warning, which means some of the fonts are not available. So you can either download the fonts and put it, or you can just put on OK, and it's just going to take the nearest fonts and add to you. So for example, this is the name I want to use. So all you need to do is to select here and just type your name and your designation down here, your title over here. So let's say we have Dr. Rashid, and down here we can have the other name, the title. So you can say speech and presentation coach, and you can see it has just added as our lower as our title. So when I try to play it, you will see the preview. You can see it very nicely prepared. Okay, and you can see the exit as well. So let me try to mute the audio. Just take a look at the exit. It fades out. And if you want to edit anything here, you can just come all the way down here to these properties, the essential graphics properties, and you can play around with the texting, the imaging. You can increase the size, decrease the size, and do quite a lot of things if you want. Put in other, change coloration, and change the feel and all that. You can do that very easily. You can see the processes, how it is being prepared, and you can always come over here and edit the content. So this is the top one, and then this is the bottom one. So this is how to add name and title. You can put in intros as well, for example intros or outros. You can still come back to, you can click out, and then you can still come back to browse from the essential graphics, and you can add in title. This is a title you can add very easily. Okay, so the same way, if you don't have that font, you can just click on OK, and it will take the nearest one. So you can see this. You can give it your title, for example. You can select this and just give it a name. So you can see you can even select from here and also edit from here. Say write your title over here. So let's say welcome, and then you can put the name of your company to my channel. For example, welcome to my channel. You can play around with the properties like coloration and all that, and the feel and all that. You can play around with it over here, but this is just to give you an idea of how the intros is going to look. So let's just try to preview it to have it to show how it's going to look. So you can see the intro very nicely done and prepared. So you can do all those with these graphics. You can check around and see different kind of things. You can even bring in text and just some captions and work with them. So sometimes you may have to import, because there are some presets that you can find downloadable somewhere. I usually like this one. I like this as my outro. So for example, if at the end of the video you want to put an outro, you can use this one as well. You can just drag it and drop it over here, and you can see, because I don't have this font, so you can see at the end. So all I need to do is to make sure I select it and then put in my details. So for example, thanks for watching, and I can put this something like remember to subscribe. Okay, something like this, and let's try to play it to see. So at the end of the video I have something like this: thanks for watching, remember to subscribe. So something like this, very easily done. So in cases when you have the some graphics that you download from some websites, and maybe some intros that you've made from those websites, and you want to import, all you need to do is to just come over here and just come to this small plus sign over here and just click on it, and then you navigate to the folder where you saved that graphics or that preset that you have downloaded from that particular website. You just select it and you click on open, and it's going to bring in that very effect that you have downloaded in here, and you can easily drag and drop and work with it and edit accordingly. So this is about graphics and how to import it and use it in your content. Next, we are going to cover how to add keyframes to your videos, on your text and on images. So to start with, all you need to do is to bring in a text that you want to add a keyframe on. So let's say we type the letter T, or we come over here and click on the type tool, or we can go to the video and just put it anywhere. So let's say we put something like Microsoft applications. We can see the text, and we can see the text clip over here. So ordinarily, when you are adding a text, maybe when you are playing it, you can see at this point, once you play, it just appears just like that, and once it gets to the end, it just disappears just like that. Now you can put in some motion animations by selecting, make sure you are on the text, and you can come to the effect controls over here, and over here you can see motion. Down here you see motion. There are a series of things you can play around with, for example positions, scaling, rotation, anchor point, and flicker. So you can do all this, but for now let's start with scaling. So we can scale. At this point I want to put a keyframe, so I just come over here and hit on scale. So you can see the keyframe over here, it has just been added. And what do I want it to do? I want at this point the text should be 0, so I just take this down to 0. I just the sizing to 0, and it disappears. Then I move to another position. For example, I come here, and at this point I want the text to be at 100%, so I just hit on 100%, and here, and you can see it's now visibly 100. Now I want this to remain at 100 until maybe this point, so I add another keyframe by hitting on this, and I just keep it at 100, and then from this point down to this point I want it to exit, okay, to zoom out. So I add another keyframe, but then what do I want it to do? I want it to zoom out, so I want it to go back to 0. So I just hit on enter. Let's have a preview about what we have just done. So you can see from the beginning, we just hit on start, and you can see it zooms in, stay on the zoom in, and then zoom out. Now this kind of looks too slow. If you want to increase the speed, then you have to bring the keyframes a little bit closer. So we just drag this one closer here if you want it to start at this point, and then we can maybe drag the zooming out closer a little bit. Okay, so let's try to zoom it in and out. Let's try to have an understanding also of what happens. So let's start. It zooms in a bit faster and then zooms out a bit faster. So that's the idea. Zoom in faster and then zoom out faster. You can even put in some other animations as well if you want. For example, you can control the way they zoom in and zoom out by selecting the keyframes. You can right click over here and you have the option to put in the ease in. Okay, ease in will just dramatize or to animate the thing very nicely. So let's have a preview about ease in. You can see it. Okay, you can see it comes in with a little bit of some graphics, and then you can put in ease out as well, so that it becomes a little bit. You can put ease out, so it's just dramatized slowly. Yeah, so something like this. So you can do a lot of things with this. You can delete or add anything according to your liking. Okay, so let's try to do one more of the text so that you can have an idea of what we are talking about. This is a fresh one, so you just click on the text. Let's do that again. So but let's this time we'll put Dr. Rashid. So you are on the text and you're on the control panel, and this time we're going to do something like position. Okay, so let's change the position. So at this point I want to assign a keyframe, so I hit on position, and then where do I want it to be? I check it out. So let's say we take it out at this point. It's out of the canvas, and then I move into this point. I want it to come in gradually at this point to be fully in, so I'll add another keyframe. So what do I want it to do? I want it to come in, then I want it to stay at this point until this point. I want it to stay on the screen until this point, so I add another keyframe. And then after this point I want it to go out, to move out, so I add another keyframe, and this time around I want it to move out in this direction. I want it to move out in this direction. So that's it. So let's try to play and hear and see what we have. So from this point it comes in, then stay on the screen, and then goes out. Even though it's a little bit slower, so we can move it closer. If you want it to be faster, just like we've explained, if you want it to be faster, we bring it closer, and let's have a look at it. Comes in really fast, stay on the screen, and then goes out. So that's how to add keyframes to text. Let's try to bring in keyframes on images. So from our images on the media bin over here, we can drag any image of your choice, any image that we like. So for example, this soft maker, we can drag it into the timeline, and let's try to put in some animations, some keyframes to it. So this Zoho, we want to put the position right, so we just try to put in the position. We want to position it to this point, and we want it to go up a little bit. So we want to put in some keyframes. We just come over here to the beginning, and make sure you have the image clip selected, so you can come over here. Which kind of keyframe do you want? Maybe I want to put in position or scaling, because it's what I prefer most. At this point I want the scale to be 0. Now it's 0, and I move to this point, and this is where I want it to zoom into 100. So I put it 100, and it's now fully zoomed in, and I want it to stay on this up to this point, and I put another keyframe, and then I want it to zoom out. So at this point I want it to zoom out, and I put another keyframe, but then what I want it to do, go back to 0. Okay, so same way. So you can bring it a bit closer to make it faster if you want, closer to make it faster. So let's have a preview about how it does. Okay, so it comes in really fast and then stay on the screen, then zoom out really fast. So this is how to add keyframes. You're free to play around with
your intuition and creativity to add anything, but this is for the beginners, and you're free to add properties at any given point. So you can just select the keyframes, right click, and put in any of these keyframes, any of these ease in, ease out, or hold, or continuous bezier. You can try any of them for your liking, depending on your creativity. On anyone you can try, just right click and you can put in any of them, any of the properties.
Alright, so the next thing I would like to show us is how to add music and sound effects to our recording or to our editing. Okay, so you can bring in music and sound effects so that you can make the recording to appear very, very fantastic and nice. So all you need to do is to maybe create another folder, new bin, and then we can call it music and sound effects. But then before we go into this, I would like to show you the websites that I usually download my music and sound effects. So the first website is Mixkit, just like so, spelled just like so, mixkit.co. When you come, there are lots of resources here that you can find to use on your videos. For example, you can find different kind of video templates, and you can have different kind of music down here. All you need is just to click to have a preview of it, and once you have it, once it is up to your test, you can just click to download just from here directly. It will just download it for you. So this music, you can check around and you can see sound effects over here, and you can just check around different kind of sound effects. For example, you have fast small whip transition. You can just click to have a preview. Yeah, so I think you can see this whoosh sound. Yeah, there are lots of them. So it just depends on the content you are creating and what are you targeting. So you can find a lot of them over here and just download and use it for your content. Another way I used to have my music is I come to the Google and I just search for YouTube audio library, just like so. And then you can see quite a lot of music that are free to use and free of copyright issues. Okay, so you can freely use and reuse and share with your friends, and everything here is copyright free. Okay, so you can just, depending on what you are looking for, you can easily search. You can easily search for this is music and this is sound effects. There are quite a lot of sound effects also that you can easily download. Anyone you just preview and just see that you like this, you can just come over here and click on download to just download it, like this kids playing. So if you like it, you can just come all the way here and just click on download to download it. You can check also from here. One good thing about it is you can just search if you, depending on what you are targeting. So for example, if I'm looking for background, you can just search for background music, and you can just refine your search and just go ahead and search accordingly. So these are background music. You can easily use it for your content. You can easily just have a preview. Once you like it, you can just come all the way and just download it and use it for your content. Okay, so let's go back to Adobe Premiere Pro, and then I'll show you how I input my video, my music. For example, I open the file I want to import. I come to my media browser and I just come back one more time. Okay, music and sound effects. This is my music, for example, the one I want to import, and I can just right click and just say import, and I've imported my music over here, and I can just easily drag it just like so and just drop it over here. Okay, it has a video component, so I just need to unlink and I just delete the video component just like so. I just delete it and I have my audio component just like this, because it's just a background music I downloaded from YouTube library. So you can just try to have a preview. And the next thing is but the sound is quite high, so you can just do the same thing that I have shown earlier. You can just come over, and one thing, you can click on this and come to the effect controls, and you can come to levels over here, volume levels. You can bring it down. Right now it's kind of quite high. You can bring it down to -20 or 30 or thereabout. So you can just bring it down, okay, let's say -20, and then have a preview. Management, how I manage the audio to sound. I think this is kind of looks better. Oh, okay, but another way you can reduce or increase the sound is by coming down here. You can see this small line. Okay, you can increase the sound by just selecting it, dragging it up and down by opening the music up and down just like so. You can increase it also if you want. A little bit better. Okay, so let's try to have it. Now you can hear the background music. So this is how to bring in background music. You can bring in the sound effects also using the same way. So it depends on what position you want to put in the sound effects. So all you need to do is to just go to that particular position, and then you can come all the way. I have a lot of sound effects. For example, you can see free sound effects. I think I'm going to share this in the description. You can just find the link and download all of them. So there are lots of them. You have ambience condition. You can check there are lots of ambience sounds, and you can have ambience more. You can see so many of them. So I will share in the description this link to all these sound effects. You can just use them for your condition. This is ambience. And then you can come to transition effects. You can have whooshes. You can have different kind of whooshes. For example, this one, something like that. So there are different kind. This is different kind of. So this is my favorite. I think it kind of looks cool. So depending on your choice. So to add sound effects, all you need to do is to import the sound effect into a file. For example, I have imported one of my sound effects over here. And all you need to do is to just drag it and drop it into the timeline. So assuming I have this intro that I want to put a sound effect on it, a whoosh effect to signify the entrance of this text. All I need is just to simply drag the sound effect and bring it over here, because this is an audio clip or an audio track that I can easily put. So let's hear the background and a preview of how it's going to sound and look like. Yeah, so that's it, and I think this looks fantastic. You can add it on an intro, you can add it even on outro as well. So if you want to put it on an outro, for example, you can just copy this, or you can drag it and put it on the outro. Assuming we have this outro, and easily drag it and put it there at the outro stage. So once you finish the video, at the last part, you didn't hear the whoosh sound as well. And I think that kind of looks fantastic. So this is basically how to add music and sound effects on Adobe Premiere Pro video clips. Feel free to explore on your own. I will keep the link to all the sound effects that I have shown earlier on, in case if you want to use it for your content, you can download easily and use it for your content. So the next thing is I would like to show us how to remove green screen to replace it with a solid background. So this video can go from something like this to something like this. Alright, so green screen or blue screen or any background that you can use during your video shooting is just a backdrop behind the subject, okay? Just behind the subject, so that you can have a uniform color, and removing it during post-processing is very, very easy, especially with Adobe Premiere Pro. So all you need to do is to just have your footage uploaded in the media bin, just like so. I have uploaded mine and I've created a sequence, and you can see it over here. So the next thing is I would like to bring in a feature from the effects. I'll come to effects, and you can search for Ultra Key. You can see it over here. You can just simply drag it and drop it on our video. Okay, and this brings us to this. Just make sure you selected the video and you are on the effect controls menu over here. So the next thing is you can come to the key color over here. You can, if you know the color code, you can put it, but if you don't know, you can use the color picker from here and just pick the right color or the right place that you want to remove this background and convert it to something neutral or transparent. Pick the background. You just need to click on this, and you can choose any point that can give you a little bit of, can help you to remove the background a little bit. And you can see it over here. It has done, I think, nearly a good work. But you can come over to this matte generation and change a lot of, and just tweak it so that you can have uniform black color behind. So you can tweak the transparency a little bit, just a little, and you can play around with the highlights as well. And you can come down to the shadow and just adjust a little. You come to the tolerance and just adjust a little. And the last thing is pedestral. You should try to have as uniform as you can the background behind. Right, so don't worry, at any given point, if you missed anything, you can always click the reset button and it's going to reset it back to the normal color. Okay, so this is basically how to play around with it. Just make sure you just play around with it consistently, and you can come to matte cleanup also and check out the contrast. You can play around with the contrast to have it very clearly, and then you can do this soften to soften the edges. All right, so you can have a clean edge, just like so. Once you are done, you can maybe zoom out to the location that you want, because in this video, all right, so you can keep tweaking around until you get the background nearly perfectly black like this. You can come all the way up and try to change the position. So because the whole thing, what I want is just the face reading the video, so I can just increase the scale just like so, and I can reposition it to the right just like so, because I just needed just my face and the mic. I think something like this is kind of cool. All right, so you can see it. So once you get this to your test, the next thing is you can try to bring in the image that you want to change or you want to put behind the background. So you can just drag your audio down, and then you can put the image in between. So in my own case, let's go back to the project bin. I have this image that I want to put behind. I just drag and drop it. So I just put this up and I have my image behind. You can just drag it. Okay, you can just drag it around till the end of the clip so that you can see the image. So you can see it. So this image is now behind the real video clip. So you can see my image is behind. Now you can get rid of these small disturbances by tweaking again back at the ultra key features. You can just come back and just play around with it accordingly. All right, you can see with little tweaking, yeah, it is gone. In just a few clicks, this is how you can change the green screen and replace it with this kind of background. So when you play the video, it will just appear as if you shot the video while in this particular room. Okay, not knowing that you shot it using a background and you using the green screen or the backdrop, and then you just remove it and replace it with this very background. So Adobe Premiere Pro is very, very good with this. It's very, very easy to do it. So let's have a little preview about the video and how it will be observed. So you can hear it. Just have a look at it. You can see, I think that kind of looks cool and fantastic, and you can do that very nicely and easily depending on what you have worked with. Just make sure the backdrop is flat and you have uniform light across it, so it looks very solid. The next thing is we are going to learn my top 10 shortcut keys that I use to fasten my editing process. Okay, so there are a bunch of shortcut keys that I use, but the good thing about it is in Adobe Premiere Pro, they have the default shortcut keys, but then you can customize it to your own. Okay, so that it makes the editing process pretty fast. So in MacBook, because I'm using Mac, to find the list of shortcut keys, all you need to do is to come over here. Once you're on your Adobe Premiere Pro platform, you can just come all the way to Premiere Pro over here, and you can see the keyboard shortcuts over here. So you can click and you have preview of it. So what this means is this is the preview of the entire keyboard. Okay, so there are different kind of shortcuts. For example, when you want to play or stop a clip, you just hit on the space button and it's going to start and stop. And when you want to shuttle left, you can use the letter A, and you want to shuttle right, you can use the letter S. This is to fasten your clip either to the left or to the right so that you can edit a bit faster. I will show you how to use both of these later during the editing process. So this is the default one, the one that it came with, but then you can customize it. So on any case, if you want to check on any of the shortcut keys, you can just come over here and you can just search. For example, I want to check on add edit, and you can see it over here. The default is Command K. Command K is the default one, but then I customize mine to letter C. So what this means is if at any given point I want to, let's say my first shortcut key is add edit. I want to create a shortcut for add edit. The default one is Command K, and I want to create another one to make it most likely letter C. I want to replace it with letter C. So for example, over here, let's say I close this. If I want to add another one, I just click on this and I just press the letter I want to add, for example, letter C, and it takes it. And then once I come over here and say, okay, letter C now takes in as my add edit. So anywhere I am, once I press on letter C, it's going to create a chord over here, and letter C over here is going to create a chord. Instead of having to use the Reso tool, I can just press on letter C to just create a chord at any given point. So that's add edit. So once I'm editing, it becomes pretty fast for me to just create a chord at any given point. So the next shortcut key that I have is the letter F for delete. Delete or clear in Adobe Premiere Pro. So if I want to clear anything around this place, I just click on F and it's going to delete or clear this very clip. I just click on F and it deletes it. So how to do that? You just come to your clip shortcut, keyboard shortcuts, and then you can search for clear. You can search for clear and you can see it. Forward delete, which is what we have. Once you click on forward delete, it's going to give you that. But the key thing is I want everything to be on the left hand side, because when I'm editing, I want everything to be on one side, reachable by my left hand, and the other right hand, I use it to move my mouse around. So I have the letter F, which is very close to my index finger. I just use it to click and then I create a clear, or I delete my clip or portion of a clip that I'm working on. So letter F to create delete. So the next shortcut key is the ripple delete. I do that with letter D or letter R. Any one of them can give me ripple delete. I've customized it to that. So once the letter F, which creates a delete just now, is just a delete with a space. And if you want to create a ripple delete, is a delete without a space. So just like this one, I just press on letter D and it deletes and close and cover the spaces in between the two clips. So once I just come to my keyboard shortcut, I just make sure I add letter D to ripple delete. So I just come over here and search for ripple delete. And you can see it over here. I added the default one is shift forward delete, but I just added my own letter D to represent ripple delete. And once I press on letter D, it just creates the ripple delete for me. So at any given point on my editing process, if I just select this particular clip, click on letter D, it creates the ripple delete. The next shortcut key that I have is called ripple delete forward and ripple delete backward. Ripple delete forward. So to do ripple delete forward is, at this point, if I want to delete anything on the front, I can easily delete that by pressing on letter W. Okay, anything from here to the end, I will delete it with letter W by just pressing on letter W to just delete it just like so. So this is ripple delete forward. So if you want to see it on the keyboard shortcut, you can just click on it and you come to keyboard shortcuts and you just come over here and search for ripple trim. Next, edit to playhead, which is W, letter W. And then now we will look at the next one, which is ripple trim previous to edit to the playhead, which is letter Q. So at this point, so if I want to do ripple delete previous to the clip, which is, for example, I want to delete it here before the clip, I just press on letter Q and it just closes that difference. And that makes sense because letter Q is before the playhead and letter W is after the playhead, which is at the right of the W is at the right and letter Q is at the left. So if I want to do ripple trim forward, I just press on W. And if I want to do ripple trim backward from this point to this extreme end, I just press on letter Q. So you can see it very, very easily and nicely. So your editing process becomes very, very fast. You don't even have to be moving your hands away from the keyboard. You just edit very, very fast with this keyboard key shortcuts. So the next shortcut is shuttle left or shuttle right. I use the letter A to shuttle left. If I want to move a bit faster to the left, I just press on letter A one more time. If I press it 2, 3, 4 times, the playhead moves pretty fast. So that can get me to anywhere I want to get to pretty fast. For example, I want to shuttle left. I want the playhead to move to the right, to the left pretty fast to another location. I just press on letter A multiple times. So if I press once, you can see I press twice, I press 3 times. Now it's going back a little bit faster and faster, just like so. And that is shuttle left. The next shortcut key is shuttle right, and shuttling right is by letter S. It's just like A and S. Okay, left is A and right is S. Okay, so letter S, I just press letter S and it moves fast. Let me mute this. letter S is going to move fast. If I press it multiple times, you can see the clip is moving faster and faster. If I want to get to any place to edit, you can see it can move as fast as possible. The more the number of S I press, the faster the clip gets. If you want to do shuttle left, letter A multiple times, and it start moving pretty fast to the back, and you can get to any location. And letter S, shuttle right, okay, move it to the right, and you can get pretty fast depending on how many times you click on letter S. So the next shortcut key is on zooming in and out. Usually if you want to zoom in on the clip, you have to come over here and zoom in just like so using this scroll icon, or you can come over and do it manually, maybe with and hold the shift key and scroll with your mouse wheel. But then the default one in the keyboard shortcut is the shift plus the plus sign over here to zoom in and out. But then when you want to, in my own, I just customize it to 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 is closer to my left hand, and I can easily zoom in and out. So let's take a look at it. 1 to zoom out, you can see pretty fast, and 2 to zoom in. Okay, you can see it. So letter 2, the number 2 on my keyboard. 1 to zoom out pretty fast to a location, or 2 to zoom in. Okay, zoom out and zoom in pretty fast, and you can see it on the keyboard shortcut as well. Come over here and you can come all the way. You can search for zoom in, and you can see it over here. So I just customize it. The default one is the equal sign or the plus sign, and for zoom in and zoom out is the negative sign. To my own, I customize it to 1 and 2. 1 and 2 to zoom in and out. Once you customize that, you can just click on OK, and it takes that as your own keyboard shortcut. So at any given point, if I want to zoom out, I just place on 1, and then if I want to zoom in, I just place on 2. 1 to zoom out pretty fast, and 2 to zoom in pretty. So the last shortcut key that I have is the letter V to return to selection tool. So whatever editing tool that I select over here and I worked with it, if I want to go back to the selection tool, this tool, I just press on letter V, and it's the mouse is now back to the selection tool. So if I'm cutting something, I select the razor tool and I'm cutting at any given point. If I want to quickly go back to the selection mode, I can just press on letter V, and it's back to selection mode, and I can select things and move it very easily. So letter V can do a lot of wonders for you when it comes to selection. So regardless of what kind of control or what kind of mode the pointer is, once you press on letter V, it's just going to go back to the selection mode. So I'll show you the editing process, how I edit pretty fast with these shortcut keys in the next video. In this video, I want to share with you how to convert your video image from something like this to something like this. Okay, so you can have it in a cycle. This can be possible when you are doing maybe explanatory video that you want to show your screen and then part of you explaining the video. Okay, so you can make this very easily with Adobe Premiere Pro. So there's a very cool way to make this, and I will just show you just that. So to start with, all you need to do is to open your Adobe Premiere Pro software and then upload the video content. That is the 2 screens. Maybe one is your camera. For example, the one I have over here, the first one at the top is my camera video, and the second one, let me show you when I disable this, you can see it's my screen capture. So I want them to go simultaneously as if I'm explaining the screen capture using my own camera video. So to do that, let me enable this. And let me make sure that the camera video is at the top over here, top of the screen recording. So the next thing you need to do is to make sure you come to the Effects tab over here. You have to be on the Effects tab. So you just click on Effects, and you should bring you here to Effects. You can always come over here and search for given functions. So the first thing you need to do is you want to search for a circle, if it is circle that you want to bring in. So you can see circle over here as an effect. So you just drag it and drop it at the top of the video. This is the video from my camera, and you can see it has just nearly disappeared. You can see it over here. Okay, so all I need to do is to make sure I come to the effect over here. So you can see the circle over here. So you can just come all the way to blending over here. So you can just change it from known as it is right now to stencil alpha. okay, stencil alpha. So you just click on it and you can see it over here. It's beginning to show my screen, my camera video. So you can just come all the way down to the radius over here, still on circle, come to radius and try to increase the radius accordingly so that it fits to your circle, to the location you want. You can use this center to move it across. You can use it to just drag, change the numbers, and you can move it across until you get to the center of what you want to capture. So for example, I want the whole of my face to be captured, and you can see I want everything to be centralized. You can see this kind of looks cool. Okay, so this gets me the first one. Now I need to have some stroke around it. Okay, just like we have shown, we need to have some strokes around it to make it much more better and clearer. So to get some stroke, all you need to do is to still come back to the search with the effect panel over here, and you can search for an effect called the paint bucket. Okay, paint bucket. So you can see it over here. You can just drag and drop it, and you come down. At the first unit, you can see it just looks kind of weird, but don't worry, you just need to do some little tweaking and it's going to change. So once you start, you put the paint bucket, you can see it over here, the control. So you can just come all the way down here to field selector. You can come to the field selector, click on the drop down, and you can come all the way to alpha channel. You can see it. Okay, you can come down here and select the stroke. Okay, select stroke and make it stroke. So once you click on stroke, it's going to appear as stroke, but right now you can see the stroke is very thin. You can play around with the stroke radius or stroke width over here. You can just click and increase it accordingly. Okay, so you can increase the stroke sizing until you can see it's quite visible. So the next thing you want to do is you may want to change the color of the stroke. You can just click and you can navigate around and change the color accordingly. Once you hit on any place, you can change the color to any color of your choice, and once you're satisfied, you click, you can see it has changed the color to that particular color. You can move it to any part of the video. For example, you want it at the bottom here or at the center while you explain the video. You can come all the way. You still make sure you are selecting the camera video, so you can just come all the way to the top over here to the video position. You can move it around. So for example, you can click and you can drag and move it down. You can see it, you can bring it to the bottom, and you make sure you specify the location accordingly. So one last thing that I used to add, and it makes it quite a little bit better and good, is I used to put some drop shadow. Okay, so you can come to the same effects panel and search for drop shadow. Okay, so you can see it over here. You can drag and drop also on the same clip, so you can come all the way down to the effect and change the values accordingly. Okay, so you can just play around with the values. For example, the distance, you can see it has dropped a little bit of a shadow, and you can check the softness. You can increase the softness or decrease accordingly. You can see the shadow kind of a little bit visible. You can see it, and you can increase the distance if you want. You can increase it or decrease it and make it a little bit, and you can increase or decrease the opacity as well. Okay, you can increase or decrease, and you can check the direction. Instead of one way, you can change it to the other way, and you can make it like that. Okay, I think it kind of looks fantastic. So drop shadow can help you make it better. Okay, so you can see it right now, it's complete, and you can continue to play with your video, and you can see it like that very easily.
So next we are going to look how I edit my clips from beginning to the end, how I import and do most of the editing, audio editing, color correction and color grading and everything in one clip. So I just prepared some intro to this video, and I will show how I edit everything. So the first thing is to come to the media bin and try to create a file like we have shown. So you can do that by right clicking and creating a new bin, or you can just come down here and just click on this, and let's call this introduction. This very file, let's call it introduction, and we can import the media from here by just selecting it and coming to the media browser over here. You can navigate around to the folder where we have it saved. So I have my own saved over here, so I can just click to open and look at the media. I can just select all of them and just right click and say import. And as you can see, I've imported all the folders under introduction. Okay, all the files under introduction. Okay, so the first thing is I have my video clip, which I removed from my camera,
and then I have an outro that I want to put at the end of the intro. Then I have an audio because, like I said, I used to record my audio separately from a different device. So I will import the audio and then synchronize, and let's see. So to start with, let's create a sequence from this clip. So we'll just right click and come down and say create a new sequence from this clip. And you can see it has just created the sequence. The clip has been inputted here. Or another way you can do is you can double click on the video to have it on the source panel over here. And then you can move around to create an inlet and maybe an outlet. So at this point, if you want to take this point, you can just say click on I to mark the in point. And then if you want to take this point, you can click on O, the letter O, to mark the out point. So let's say I want to take at this point and place on the letter O, and then I will drag the whole video and audio together into my editing timeline. So you can see it over here. So this is how to bring in the video section of the tutorial. Maybe if you want to bring in sections, but in my own case, I want to use the entire clip. So the next is to drag the audio, the separate audio, and bring it in. Okay, so you can see it over here. I can just drag this to make it very clear. One thing I used to do is I usually synchronize. Let me delete this portion. I don't need it at this point. One thing I used to do is I would have to synchronize this audio with this audio. So I have shown how to synchronize, but I will do it for this as well. So just select everything, right click, and just come all the way. You come to synchronize, and you make sure the audio is selected, and you click on OK, and it's going to synchronize everything. Okay, so now everything is in sync. So the audios are synced. So I can mute this one, and I have this to myself. So what I used to do is I select the one that I recorded separately, and I can come all the way to make sure it is on the effects control panel over here. The next thing I do is to add my audio properties to enhance the quality of the audio. But then I have already shown how to add the different features, the different effects, audio effects, and I have saved mine as a preset. So all I need to do is to come to the effects over here, the effects panel over here, and come to presets, and I'll just drag my audio preset over here that I have saved. I'll just drag it and drop it, and you can see it has shown over here everything that I needed. You can see including the reverb and the parametric equalizer and the multiband compressor. These are the main features or effects that I use on my audio. So as you can see, I have added all of them to the audio. Right now we can proceed. I have added my audio effects. So the next thing is, let me do color correction and then color grading on the main video clip. I may decide to zoom out and may decide to cut at this point. I may decide to cut from this point onwards on the audio because I don't need it. Most of this point I don't need. So I will do the color correction. I just select the color and make sure everything is shown here, the effects control. But then I come to the windows over here and make sure I select lumetri color over here, and I select also the lumetri scopes so that I can see the distribution of the coloration over here. Like I've explained in the color section of the course, in color correction you work on the clip directly, but then you don't have to worry about what you are changing that much. You just worry about this profile, okay, to make sure you get it between 10 and 90. You get the range fall between 10 and 90. So all you need to do is to come back to your basic correction over here, and you can just play around with the exposure. You can just try to expose it a little bit, lower the exposure a little bit, increase the contrast to have it uniformly distributed if you want. Just a little. You can play with the highlights, just increase it a little. Just be mindful of what is happening here. It has to be between 90 and 10. So you can come down and up your blacks so that you can have it at 10, and then you can go up here to just increase the whites a little, and you can reduce your shadows or increase the shadows a little bit while looking at the lumetri scope, and then you can just bring down the highlight a little. Let's bring down the whites so that it can come down to 90, and the contrast as well. Okay, so you can see the preview of what is happening. This is the originally how it's supposed to look when you are editing, when the camera is the real effect on the camera. So This is it without much lighting. This is the corrected how I look on the camera. So you can just be minding your business and just up it a little so you can have it between 10 and 90. Okay, so the corrections section is done. You can check the before and after. Before, and this is after. So you've corrected the highlight, the lighting and so on. So this is basic. Now the next thing is to do the color grading. Color grading, like I have explained, you have to come back here. Then you have to come down here and right click to create adjustment layer, or you select the introduction file, and then you can come over here to new bin. Just click on this new, and then you are creating something new, which is adjustment layer. Okay, so you can see adjustment layer over here. So you make sure you select this video settings 1920 by 1080 with this time base, and then you can say okay. Now you've created your adjustment layer. So all I need to do is to drag it and drop it on top of the video, and now I have to just come to the edge of it and just drag to the end of the clip so I can see the entire thing. Now I can zoom out. So while still on the adjustment layer, because the next thing is I have to adjust everything on the adjustment layer. Everything has to be adjusted on the adjustment layer. And this time around, don't worry about the lumetri scopes. Just be worried about the coloration. So I come to my basic coloration. And what I do here is, while still selecting the adjustment layer, I increase the exposure a bit. I increase the highlight a little bit. And then I bring down my blacks. Okay, so you can see I brought down my blacks. Okay, the speaker and some of the black things around, I bring it down, and then I increase the white a little. Okay, so this is what I do basically here. Next, I go to the creative. I sharpen the video, increase the sharpness, just like so, and increase the vibrance. And then maybe saturation I can decrease a little. Okay, so I think this kind of looks cool to me. But then the last thing I do, I come to the curves and I created 2 points to make sure I got the S shape. So I up it a little, I up the lighting a little over here, and then I bring it down a little bit so that it kind of looks perfect. So you can see it. I can bring it down a little. I think that kind of gets it to where I want. I can come to the red also, and you may want to bring it down a little. So this gets it to where I want. So you can check the before and after. Okay, everything is now changing. So this is what I do on the color correction. I don't do much on the hue and saturation and all that. I don't touch everything over there. I just make sure I start from there. Okay, I got it like this. And this is what I want. I think this is good. This is what I want. So then the next thing is I can now start editing the content, the clip in the main editing panel. I can now start cutting the parts that I don't want using my shortcut keys that I have shown how to use. So let's just go ahead and start. I can use the 1, 2 icon to zoom out to the location that I want. I can use the shuttle left to kind of move faster, shuttle right to move faster to a location where I want to start my editing. So I click on this and then click on the letter Q to do trim to the left, and select everything here and do ripple delete so everything starts at the beginning.
Adobe Premiere Pro is the industry-leading software when it comes to video editing.
Now I like this point, so at this point I would cut from here.
Adobe Premiere Pro is the industry-leading software when it comes to video editing.
Okay, so I don't need from here to the beginning. Okay, because it's a repetition, so I just hit on Q to delete everything. Let me undo that. So I don't need from this point. I don't need from this point to this point because it's a repetition. So I hit on letter Q to delete it and listen again.
If you're a beginner, I recommend you start with this course.
Okay, so I only want to cut this point at this point. I may want to cut this point, so create a cut, add edit with the letter C, and then come over here and delete. Okay.
If you're a beginner, I recommend you start with this course.
Then at this point, I create another cut edit on all, and then I do trim to the left.
I'm Dr. Rashid, a speech and presentation coach. I've used Adobe.
Okay, so I can cut this point. I can cut.
Adobe Premiere Pro over the last 4 years to edit most of my video content, especially for my YouTube channel, for my social media handles, and all of the content creations I've done because of online courses.
So I can create another cut from here because most of these things I don't need. So from here, I click to remove.
To teach you everything you need to feel comfortable editing in Adobe Premiere Pro.
Now from this point, I don't need.
This course is designed to teach you everything you need to feel comfortable editing in Adobe Premiere Pro.
Okay, so I think I don't need all these. I can come down.
This course is designed to teach you everything you need to feel comfortable.
Okay, I can delete.
Learn the most fundamental skills of video editing.
I don't need this. Okay.
Learn the most fundamental video editing skills. You learn by the end of this course.
Okay, I need from here. So I can cut.
By the end of this course, you will learn the most fundamental basic video editing skills, including.
Okay, so I think at this point I have another audio that I attached to with this video. So I think I want to stop at this point. So I can just select and I can do ripple trim to the right by pressing on W, and it will delete everything to the right. And then I can select all this and create on D to ripple delete everything. So at this point, I would like to bring the ending point, which is the outro. So I can just drag my outro and put it anywhere around here. So I just put it. So this is my outro. I can just hover around and I can select it, make sure I have it at the effects control, and just increase it so that I can cover this small gap. So let's have a look at a preview at the video again by using the number 2 to zoom out and letter 1 to zoom in. So we can see from the beginning, everything is nearly set.
Adobe Premiere Pro is the industry-leading software when it comes to video editing. So if you are starting afresh, if you are a beginner, I recommend you start with this course.
So at this point, I want to bring in some graphics, which is I want to say my name. Hi, I am Dr. Rashid. So to bring in graphics, all I need to do is to make sure I come to Windows and make sure Essential Graphics is selected. And I can come to graphics over here. I can come down. Okay, so let's say from here, I drag this and I put it here. Like I said, I don't have this font, so I click and it takes anything close to it. So I select, I put my name, speech. So again, these are the panel. This is the control panel. You can select and edit everything. So let's say I select and I can change the coloration from white to something like blue. I can just hit and you can see it's coming out. Okay, something like black, you can see it. So I can change this Dr. Rashid also to the same coloration. Something like blue, dark blue, and say okay. Okay, so this is it, and I can play with the location of it. I can make sure I select it and I can play with location. I can move. Okay, I can select both of them. Let's say I come with the selection tool and select both of them, and I can move them to anywhere of my choice, for example here, and I can play around with the properties like sizing and all that, coloration and other effects also from here. I can even drop a shadow if I want, okay, to make it pop out a little bit. If you want to have background also, you can have background, and I can specify what background I want. So let's say I want something like a white background. Okay, and you can see. So let's try to have a preview about it.
this course. Hi, I'm Dr. Rashid,
Okay,
a speech and presentation coach.
you can see how it came in and everything. So we can put in, if you like, you can put some transitions from here. So let's say we shift this a little bit inside. We shift it a little bit inside. Okay, and I want to bring in a transition and put it somewhere here. So all I need is to come back to effects, and we can come to video effects, and you come to video transitions. Sorry, you can come to video transitions, and we can see a list of them over here. Let's say I'm using wipe this time around. Okay, so I drag this wipe and put it on the clip, not on the adjustment layer, and I can just extend it a little bit, and let's see how it's going to look like in the preview.
You start with this course. Hi,
Yeah,
I'm Dr. Rashid.
I think I don't like this one. Let me change it to something else. Center split. Let's do dissolve. Okay, let's do dissolve and dip to black, and just drag it and drop it somewhere here and just increase. So let's have a preview about how it's going to look like. Okay, so let's have a preview of the transition.
Start with this course. Hi, I'm Dr. Rashid.
Yeah, I think this is cool, but the timing it takes is kind of too much, so I reduce it, and then let me play again.
Start with this course. Hi, I'm Dr. Rashid.
Yeah, I think this kind of looks cool. Basically, this is how I edit my content. There is anything I need to add is the music and sound effects. So if you have any music and sound effect, you can easily bring it in and just put it down here. If you have anything at all you want to put, you can easily bring it in and put it. But for now, I want to keep this without music and sound effects. So everything is set, and I'm sure I'm starting with the coloration, I'm starting with the audio effects, and I'm starting with everything, and the wordings as well. I'm okay with it. So what I need is just to export it. So to export this video, I just come to file over here and come to export, come to media, and then you can come all the way to specify the name if this is the name you want. If it's not, you can just rename it to something of your choice, maybe let's say introduction, and then specify the location like we've explained. So you just click on this to redefine the location. If this is not where you want it, you can always save it somewhere. So let's say I want to save it here. I choose this location, and everything should be left as it is. You can see an idea of how much size it's going to be, and what kind of properties, the audio properties and video properties, the output stage. You will find everything here. So I want to export the entire source. If you want to export specific section of it, you can export using specifying here and using the import and output like we have explained in the video. So once everything is confirmed, I can just click on export, and it's going to start rendering the video just like so, and very easily it's going to render it to that location. Okay, so it has started rendering. In 13 seconds everything will be completed. Okay, so it has just finished. You can see it has finished successfully. You can go to that location and try to play the video to have a preview of what you just exported. Okay, so you can see it over here. You just double click and you can see the video you have just exported. So let's try to listen to it.
Adobe Premiere Pro is the industry-leading software when it comes to video editing. So if you are starting afresh, if you are a beginner, I recommend you start with this course. Hi, I'm Dr. Rashid, a speech and presentation coach. I've used Adobe Premiere Pro over the last 4 years to edit most of my video content.
So basically this is it. This is the process, how to edit for a beginner, how to edit your video very fast with shortcut keys and edit everything and output to your test. Assuming you are starting with everything, one last thing that I would like to show with us is how to render and export your video into an MP4 format. So you can upload to your YouTube channel, or you can upload to any kind of media that you've connected with Adobe Premiere Pro. So once you're starting with what you have, if you are certain this is what you want, you are certain you've previewed, you've played, and you are certain of the content you've created, all you need to do is to start by coming to the file over here and you can come to export, file, export, and then you can come to media over here. So it's going to show you a preview about what you have. Okay, so this is the beginning, and this is a 5 minutes video clip. You can see the entire clip over here, and down here you have to select the basic settings. So the first thing is the name. So you confirm, is this the name of the file you gave it in the beginning? And then you can specify the location. So location, you just click on this, and then you specify that particular location you want to output your video in. So zooming in my own case, I want to output it here, and I choose this location, and just make sure you give it the name. And next is to select to match the presets, match the source adaptive high bitrate, which is usually the best. But if you want to go for high quality or high definition, you can come to HD 1080p, but I think I usually prefer this adaptive high bitrate. It's also usually fantastic, but you can use these higher ones or the lower ones if you so wish. It all depends on you, but I prefer to go with the default setting. And then you should make sure you select the H.264, which is what gives you the MP4 format. So every other thing you can keep it on, and then down here you have the opportunity to have an idea of the sizing of the video that you're going to produce, the output. Okay, so this is the size and estimated file size of what you're going to produce. So this is the range, entire source, keep everything at default. This is the output location and the properties of what you are going to get. So you can just have a look at it, and everything you can leave at default. And once you are certain, you can just come over here and click on export. Okay, so once you're certain with everything, you can just come all the way here and click on export, and it's going to export this video to this location for you. Another thing I want to show us, which is usually I receive a lot of comments or complaints about this, is how to export a given section of the video, not the entire section, but maybe from this point to this point, just this selection. So all you need to do is to go back to the video. So for example, we can come back to edit, and you can come to select. So for example, we're editing, we want to take this point as our in point, and then maybe to this point as our out point. Okay, so from here to here, basically that's where we are going to export. So all you need to do is to make sure you are at the beginning and click on letter I to show the in point, and then you can come all the way to the ending and show the letter, and hit on the keyboard letter O to show the out point. Okay, so this is what you are going to see. This selection is what you are going to export. So by coming to export, it's going to show you a preview of what you are going to export. So all you need to do from here, that you've selected the basic area you want, you can just come to file again. Okay, so you can come to file again, and then come to export. You can come to media, and it will bring you over here. So what differentiates this is this is the entire source. Okay, this is the range, this is the entire source. But then now you want to just export the in and out that you've selected. So you just click on it, and you can see the preview over here. And you can see from the size of the estimated file, it has also decreased to about 210 megabytes. So once you specify everything, all the location is correct, the name is correct, and everything is in detail according to what you want. Once you're certain with everything, you're certain with the location that you want to export, you can just come all the way here and click on export. And you can see it's just started rendering your file, and it's going to export it for you very nicely. Alright, so now it has exported to this location. So let's just go to the location and have a preview about how our video is going to look like. So you can see it over here. We can just double click and to see it, just to have a look at the intro and how it's going to look like. Okay, so this kind of looks cool and fantastic. So this is it. So you can check out the name also over here. Okay, you see it faded out. So this kind of looks cool and fantastic. This is what I want. Next, if you are the type that enjoys reading, all the programs, all the features explained herein are contained in this document. I give credit to the owner, the real owner of the document, Valentina V. Okay, Valentina V is the real owner of this document. So you can find a lot of things in the document. All the things explained in this course, you can find it everywhere. You can find it clearly stated and explained here. How to add files, how to create sequence, how to start from scratch, how to do all these pre-edits, as well as insert and override things, how to cut and paste and do faster playback, track locking, and video track visibility, audio track solo, tools, panels, basics, and many more, moving edits, as well as so many things we even didn't cover in this course. But you can find it very well explained here in pictorial form with explanation on how to manage it. Okay, so it's very useful. Motion controls, zoom and pan, you can do all that. You can check out all that using this very document. So it's a very cool document. I'll put it in the description so you can just download and use it for your own development. So you can just go through it and understand the basics, what she covered and what she used in this very document. So much to learn, so much to explore in this very document. And even how to render and export your video, she also give the textual part.
So thank you very much for taking my course, and I do hope that now you are much more prepared to start editing your video content with confidence.